everyone. Welcome to All Growth Podcast. I'm your host, Alvaro Gamboa. Thank you so much for joining us in this space and time. We're discussing all work, no play. Working hard is hardly working. Today we're going to be discussing the elements of work and why it's not fun to work, what labor is, how is it that we work so hard and yet we're hardly working on ourselves, and all the BS that comes along with work. It's time for All Growth. Special shout out to today's sponsor, The Tiny Cupboard. Thank you so much, The Tiny Cupboard, for sponsoring this podcast. You already know the vibes. You fucking with Tiny Cupboard. Go ahead and check them out on IG at The Tiny Cupboard. Check out the website, thetinycupboard.com. Let them know the vibes. Get in tune with the show. If you're interested in getting on the mic, they got that too. Whatever your needs and wants are, The Tiny Cupboard got it covered. Oh, bless my people. Now that we're discussing all work, no play, I gotta be real with you. It's time to plant some seeds. Now, seeds usually are work, but it's a fun type of work. So we're gonna be introducing the things I wanna talk about today in terms of work. Off the bat, I feel like this system of labor, how we think of labor, is hardly working for us. And it's not working for us while making us work harder than ever before. We really look at the low wages, the barbaric working conditions, healthcare being tied to your employer status, and the way companies, corporations, CEOs, and shareholders receive bailouts way before you and I do. That's more than enough proof that I need for us to rethink labor and work. So another seed I want us to plant is it's time for us to redefine work. What we really think of is work. And then not only that, what we do for work and how we do work has to change entirely. What I'm talking about here is higher wages. So a federal minimum of at least $20, at least $25. Not this old $15 bullshit. While I'm thankful that the federal limit has been raised to $15 because of the states that have been lacking, I just want us to know that because of the fact that the inflation rate and the wage rate have not gone up at the exact same time, at the exact same rate, the wage rate is still behind. We gotta be paying people $20, $25 an hour at the very least for an hour's worth of decent work. So besides having higher wages, we gotta have shorter shifts. Because I am tired of doubles, I am tired of clopins where you close and open. I'm tired of shifts that have you working all day and then the moment you leave work, the sun sets. Bruh, how are we supposed to get anything done for ourselves in that climate? Sunrise, fuck, I gotta work. Let me shower, let me get my food ready, let me go to work, commute to work, let me get in at work, clock in at work, clock out, sunset. Bro, I'm tired, bro. Like, come on. But you mean to tell me I can't have no fun throughout the entire day? In the wintertime, I don't even subscribe to being social or having fun, bro, because by the time the sun sets, there's no fun, man. It's like 20 degrees out. No one wants to go outside. Everyone wants to stay tucked in and in their beds. That shit's just not cool. Come on, bro. I feel like having shorter shifts would mean we get the opportunity to have more fun in our lives. No more 8, 10, 12, 14, 16-hour shifts. Cutting our shifts down into shorter shifts like 4, 6, 8-hour shifts makes it our full-time work part-time and our part-time work full-time. Meaning that what we used to consider full-time, being like whether it be 8, 10, 12 hours, is now considered our full-time now. If we redefine our shorter shifts, a full-time shift now would be, 4 to 8 hours, 4, 6, 8 hours, something like that. And for a full week's worth of work, full-time, we're not looking anywhere at the 40 to 80 hours of work that we've used to put. We're talking more like 30 to 50, if anything, like 50 max. Like, imagine that. Yo, there's so much more time for you, so much more time for your passions, hobbies, and interests. Come on, fam. What's not to love? In redefining work, we have to work with a purpose. We have to work at places and in spaces that fulfill us. Fulfilling work. Working with the purpose towards what you love to do, what you like to do, what excites you, what interests you. That is a more fulfilling work. So that way, when you start working in that mode, when you start working in those environments, it allows for flow faster and easier. It allows for more fulfillment, meaning lightness to you. You can be excited about work for once as opposed to dreading the commute to work. Come on, man. Like, who wants that? And on top of that, paying everyone what you're supposed to be paying them, what they're owed. You have more financial freedom. Come on now with the financial freedom and the flexibility that you gain from that. You're gonna have to fight me for this flexibility and for this financial freedom. You know, it's not a simple thing. It is complex to change society's view of work, the world's world view of work. It's not a simple thing to do. I don't want you to think like I'm being naive as hell and wanting this stuff. I know it's complex. I know it's intricate. Whatever other big words you want to say for not simple, but it is doable. It is not impossible. Impossible is simply saying I am possible. You have to find a way. The last seed I want to plant for us today in this episode is understanding that we are working to live as opposed to living to work. So there's a proverb that says, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. It's a great proverb to say that Jack be boring if all he does is work, bro. Jack cannot be working all the time, Jack. In order for us to live to work, we've been bamboozled. It means that taking time off from work, a person becomes both boring and bored. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. So really, I want us to look at where are we living to work, meaning that we get up for work. We live for our jobs, for our careers, for our salaries, as opposed to working to live, working, whatever job you're working, humbling yourself down into that regard, to use that position as leverage, that money as leverage, all of those things as a vehicle towards the next step, a vehicle towards a better life, towards your career passions, goals, towards your career goals, towards your passion goals, towards your dreams. When we work to live, we're not surviving, we're thriving. We have a plan, we have a game plan and a movement in place. We got this shit figured out. As opposed to when we're living to work, we're literally living at the control of our companies and our corporations, of our workplaces. We're under the control of whoever pays us. Shift that mindset and we unlock the cage. It's time now to add some water and light to today's seeds. As I mentioned, we're discussing all work, no play, labor, how that goes about, and in making sure that we understand where we have to go, I want us to know where we've been, where we've gone. Let's discuss briefly the history of work and labor. The first workers were slaves, indentured servants, slaves, however you want to look at it. Throughout history, not just America's history, but throughout history, the pyramids in Egypt, indentured servitude throughout the European Union countries. Like, it's everywhere around us. That's like the first worker is a slave. It's led to this gross subconscious way of living where if we want things done, we're gonna have to hire somebody, outsource it, delegate it to. Those slaves were the first delegators. Not to say that they were on Fiverr or getting these freelance gigs going, but that's kind of like where it comes from. That if you follow the source, if you follow the root, that's where it's from, bro. Like, we're literally repeating history. And if you look at when work and labor were highlighted in American history, if you look at where it was really important during the industrial age, during the Industrial Revolution, where everybody and their moms had a job, children even had a job. Children being allowed to work during the Industrial Revolution really set us back a little bit. It set the population back, it set the species back, because as opposed to being in education, as opposed to seeking learning, seeking knowledge, and seeking things that to nourish that young brain so it could grow into a smart, full-grown adult brain, what instead we were saying is, fuck that. None of that matters. Get me my coal mines. Get me that coal from the mines. Get me those diamonds from the mines. We were telling kids that. Little kids, bro. We were telling kids no older than 4 or 5 years old during the 18th and 19th centuries, yo, fuck school. Make me some money. I'll make you some money too. If that's not wrong, and if you don't find anything wrong with that, I got some bad news for you, my people. Before the Industrial Revolution, women were not allowed to work. Before the Industrial Revolution, women were preferred to be seen and not heard. All that changes during the Industrial Revolution when it turns out it's all hands on deck call. Women are now allowed to work. That's a great thing. However, that was cut short in America and exported to outside countries. up until World War II, when every man is out of the country fighting for God knows what, fighting God knows who. All of a sudden now you have all these jobs. All these jobs need workers. That is the second chance in America women got to work. Thankfully, that stayed permanent. Women in the workforce is now doing everything that men were doing before. Some might have been doing it better. And because of that, once the war was done, war was won, finished, over, people start coming back. There's a lot of bodies, less jobs. Hold on now, because you notice the pattern, right? You see that. And now that women aren't allowed to, or not allowed, I would say, now that women with the 1950s wanting to work, there is a huge drive in keeping them at the home, housekeepers, housewives, so that way the men could get back their jobs and the women could go back at home. That's the scam, bro. That's the scam, bro. Not only did they stop giving opportunities and blessings to women and men in the past couple of decades, we've exported that shit. The number of jobs in America has steadily decreased, and the number of jobs around the country, around the world, have increased. How? We got sweatshops, we got warehouse jobs, and all of that shit is America's number one export. We export jobs outside of the country at an astounding rate. Why? Tax cuts, tax breaks, wage cuts, wage breaks, cutting corners, making more profit, pocketing more profit for the top of the top, while paying the bottom of the bottom, slave wages. And that's the real truth, man. Sweatshops, warehouses, improper, barbaric treatment of workers at any age, at any rate, at any time in our history is the history of American labor. But labor really has been around forever. The thing is, though, capitalism has spread worldwide, and capitalism has taken labor and work to mean totally different things. It's distorted, disturbed, and perverted the meaning behind work and labor. The idea of working towards a goal, towards something used to be beneficial, that we're talking about in like villages and tribes time. We're talking about back in the good old days, Dika, when the land of the Americas was great. It's not a capitalistic creation. It's been perverted by capitalistic views to work towards the betterment of the collective, like how they used to do in tribes and villages, how they used to do in societies way back when everyone had a role, when everyone had a purpose in this network, in this community. Like community labor is shunned. If you're working with others, it becomes this group project. Think about how we feel about group projects. Yeah, fuck group projects. That is how everyone views labor. To have like a coworker, to have someone that you have to work with, not someone that works for you, or not that someone that you work for, but someone to work with, it becomes like an instant drain on us. There is no collaborative work in this day and age. With capitalism spreading worldwide, it's also spread this idea of the importance of production and profit, more importantly profit, over people. That viewpoint of putting our dollars and our profits over people is insidious. It's terrible, fam. Because of that, if you're unemployed, which millions of people are in the world, not just the country, but the world in this day and age. So if you're unemployed in this day and age, you're seen as an outcast. You're seen as someone that has no value to them. You're useless in a society. No one wants to fuck with you. You got this stank on you. You got this rut on you because you're unemployed, meaning that you don't get your money from someone else. You don't get your salary from someone else. What are you doing, bruh? You don't got a job? Like, come on now. What are we doing? You're unemployed. It's a scary thought for millions of people that are unemployed for a number of reasons. Like their identity was tied to their jobs. Their identity. So with capitalism taking advantage of laborers, having this idea of production and profit over people leads to terrible behaviors. One of them is treating workers as human capital stock. You'll notice that phrase, if you remember during the 2020s, that phrase, human capital stock, was around way more than I liked personally. And what that meant was that economists, politicians, people that made big boy decisions for a bunch of people, not just themselves, viewed workers not as people with families and others relying on them and them relying on others, they viewed them as stock, as human capital stock. You know what else gets referred to as stock? Cattle stock. Meaning, yo, we were chattel slavery. Bruh, they don't give a fuck about us. The same way that farmers in slaughterhouses don't give a fuck about their chattel stock. They don't. They don't give a fuck about their animal labor. The same way that human farmers, human farmers don't care about their human labor. It's chattel slavery. The way we view work, the way we do work has to change. There needs to be a change. The unnecessary requirements, qualifications, and experience needed in these rigged systems for entry-level jobs has to go. I'm not doing cover letters anymore, people. I'm sorry. I'm not filling in the blanks. I'm not making it a point to jump all these hurdles and go about all these loopholes just to get a job, an entry-level job at that. You have to have how many degrees for a $15 hour job? Fuck out of here with that. Come on, bro. Don't even. Because our way of work needs to change, it's already changing. Peep game. Working from home is a new thing. That's a new trend. That's going to stick around for years to come. Work from home. Why do I got to work from an office around people that I don't like, that sneeze with their mouths open, pre-COVID, that don't wash their hands, again, pre-COVID, that want to bother me when I'm in a flow in the middle of work? Like, that's all that is dead. The office space is archaic now. That's dead. That's old news. Don't even worry about that. You don't even have to worry about the commute to and from work. Bro, that's a beautiful thing, bro. That is a beautiful thing. I will say, though, the jobs that we're going to have in the future are going to be vital, because the jobs we do have now are going to be lost to automation. That's right. iRobot is taking over. The machines will come for us. They've already started. With the way the world and the work that we're doing is changing, it's time for specialization. Pick something and be a beast at that. Kobe, beast at dribbling a ball. The fucking Mamba at it, right? Whatever your passion is, go into it gung-ho. Not many of us are doing that. And that's okay, lesson learned, experience gained, but it's time for specialization. Find something and become a master at it. Become a master at your craft is really what we gotta be doing. Finally, the last piece of light that I want us to shed is that with the way the world is going, with the way the world is moving, and the shifts that are being made and the movements that are being made, the last piece of light I want us to make, I want us to gain, is understanding that it's either work for yourself or work for someone else. Work for your dreams or work to make someone else's dreams happen. We are encouraged with propaganda to get a job for someone else, have a career in order to make something of ourselves, DK. Yet when we apply ourselves and get hired and do the job for someone else, we're helping their visions and dreams come true. But what are we doing for ourselves? That is the that is the major key I want us to unlock. Yo, we are sacrificing our time, our energy, our attention, our space, our talents, so that others can progress in the world. But when are we going to start progressing in the world? When are we going to start moving forward? It's a flawed way of thinking. That's why I say to you today, it's either work for your dreams or work for someone else's dreams. Work to make your dreams a reality, or you will work for someone else to make their dreams a reality. Simple as that. As with every garden, as with every journey, we come across problems and we face them head on here at All Growth. It's time for the weeds. In our garden, we find the weeds in talking about work and labor is understanding that there are people that identify themselves with their job. The first weed is you are not your job. That is, you are not your job. You are a full human being before this job. You will be a full human being after that job. I promise you, I can rest astoundedly on that. Capitalism has convinced us that someone doesn't have a job, someone doesn't have a career, they don't have a salary, they don't get wages, they don't get a paycheck, you're worthless to society. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are millions of people unemployed due to COVID, due to 2020, pandemic, quarantine, lockdown, all that stuff, but they are still important. They are still people. They're still people. Just because they have a job means that they're nothing? Stop playing games with me, bro. I want us to know that you are not your job. So let go and free yourself of the shackles of identifying with your workplace. Yes, your occupation does not define you. When we got together and people asked questions to get to know you, one of the first questions would be, what do you do? It's like a status trigger question. It's a very heavily loaded question because your answer to those questions defines how they will treat you from that moment on. Simple as that. If someone asks you, if someone asked you in the past, what do you do? The idea was never, what do you do for fun? The idea was always, what do you do for work? What do you do for bills? How you get paid? How are you out here? Are you out here? Because we out here, but are you out here? Oh, okay. With that being said, I'm grateful for this pandemic in the sense of that we've allowed, or the universe has allowed for us to be freed of the shackles of our occupations. So no longer do I want us to say our occupations or identify with our workplace anymore. When someone asks you in the future, what do you do? I want us to think in our minds, what do we do for fun? And don't make that clear, but simply put, answer right away. So for a perfect example for me, someone asks me what I do. Hey bro, I go to the gym. My favorite hobby is to pick heavy stuff up and put it right back down. That is my favorite thing to do in the world. And I answer their question, and they ask you again, oh, what do you do for work? With further clarification, I want the answer to be, you work on yourself. You work for yourself. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, that's the best answer you could give someone. Yo, I work for myself and I work on myself. Simple as that. And then that makes you 10 times more interesting. I didn't mention a single dollar. I didn't mention a workplace. I didn't mention an occupation, none of that. But off that, when you tell someone, yo, I work on myself, I work for myself, in that one sentence, those 6 words, you just said a whole lot. And they might not be bright enough to catch it. That's okay. But you let them know, I work on myself. You on that self-development. You on that personal improvement game. I work for myself. Meaning you on your hustler shit. You on your grinder shit. You on your vibe. You fucking with your own vibe. You trying to get yourself paid. You make money for you. You're not out here chasing money. Money chasing you. Money chasing us. Come on. Where the money resides. Where the money resides. Where the money resides. Where the money resides. Another weed I want us to get into is, listen, I want us to have a work-life balance. For those people out there, my people out here that do have jobs, I do want us to find balance finally and officially in our lives. I know that's hard. I've always thought it odd where people say that I'm trying to have a work-life balance. I find that work is in life. So you make work out for you in your life. You don't make your life work out for yourself and work. Think about that. We have work, we have life. And we're trying to have that work-life balance. And there's this duality, this illusion of a duality that we get in thinking work and life. They're 2 separate beings. As a matter of fact, if you realize work is in life, so that illusion, that duality is gone. So forget about it. There's no polarity. It's literally just one thing. You. In the center is just you. So, in thinking of ourselves as a whole being, work, life, balance means have balance in your life with work. Balance your life out to include work. Not to say balance, it shouldn't be balance your work in your life. Balance your life with your work. Feel me? You see how that mindset creates miracles? That shift in mindset creates miracles? You'll notice a huge boost in your mental health, in your spiritual health, emotional health. You might notice better gains in your professional life, where you get promoted more, you have a better opportunity at flow, you get into flow faster and longer and all that. There's so many benefits to making these shifts. So I no longer want to I no longer think in terms of having a work-life balance. Work is in my life. My life is me as a whole being. We got to have a balance and a harmony, a peace and a unity with all of it. With the weeds, my brothers and sisters, focus on your happiness. Focus on the things that make you happy. Focus on your passions. Focus on your purpose. Focus on the things that bring you joy, your hobbies, your interests, your pastimes, the things that you do for the soul improvement of yourself. Focus on your happiness. Why? Because that really is an inside job. Focusing on your happiness is essential because no one else can do it besides you. It's not your girlfriend's job, your wife's job, your husband's job, your boyfriend's jobs, your parents' jobs, your siblings' jobs, your cousins, aunts, uncles, friends, acquaintances, associates. None of their jobs. Your happiness is your job. Focus on your happiness. And the last week, bringing it back around, it's time for us to have purposeful work. Work on your purpose. Everyone in this life has a purpose for why they were here. If you don't believe in religion, if you don't believe in spirituality, that's okay. But you have a purpose for being here. Whether it be working at the deli or working at the White House. I mean, I'm not judging either job. I treat everyone with the same base level kindness, compassion, respect, and honor that they deserve. I do want us to start having purposeful work, working on our purpose. When you do start working on your purpose, you notice you get lighter, you get brighter, you get higher, you vibe higher, you ascend, you evolve, you grow. Working on your purpose is the key, is the lock that needs to be unlocked towards becoming your best self and growing. You know, here at All Growth, we talking about things that grow. So if you focus on your purpose, if you do purposeful work, that's working for not just yourself, working for everyone around you, working for your community. So having purposeful work with yourself gives this trickle down effect of purposeful work with your circle, and then also with your community. As opposed to working for the man, I want us to work on our purpose as opposed to working for the man. You notice how the man has those negative connotations. As soon as I said the man or working for the man has those subconscious connotations in our own minds. The moment we clock in, I'm working for the man. Bro, we don't need none of that. Instead of working for the man, work for your purpose. Well, that about wraps it up here for us, everyone. Before you leave, I like leaving places and spaces and people better than how I found them. It's time for harvest. So in our harvest, what have we learned? We have a terrible relationship with work, with labor. We have no fun. There is no play in work as we see it now. And it's time for us to redefine that relationship. Find more joy, find more play, find more fun in your work. And if your work allows for no joy, allows for no fun, allows for no play, you already know what I'm going to say. So find more joy, play, happiness where you work for your sake and the sake of everyone around. What have we taken with us? Well, for starters, we're shedding our identities away from our work. You are not your occupation. You are not your job. We are not our jobs. We are so much more than that. We are people that provide other things besides money to our communities. We can be parents. We could be siblings. We could be kids, light bearers. We could be light workers. We could be so many things outside of our occupation. We could be ourselves. Duh, come on, bro. That's the best choice. What would you rather do? Would you rather be your job or be yourself? What have we gained? Hopefully, a newfound sense of purpose in your work and only focusing on the things that make you happy, focusing on your happiness, making happiness an inside job. Hopefully, I want us to do what we love. Simple as that. You will never work a day in your life if you do what you love. Because at that point, if you're doing what you love every day, that's fun, that's play. You're having joy in life. You done found joy, and you and joy are now like colleagues and coworkers. Come on, man. You don't want that? Okay. The last thing we've gained is a perspective in helping us find purpose in our work. Having purposeful work is super important. Find something that you're passionate about. Find something that you're passionate about and do it often, as much as you can, and that becomes who you are. Let that opportunity to do what you're passionate about fill you up to the brim, so much so to the point where your cup runneth over and you're just overflowing in love of the things you do, how you move. Let that abundance flow to you, and you'll watch, man. It's just like a cycle. The more you put out into the world good vibes, the more good vibes come right back to you. Lastly, how have we grown? We've grown a lot in this last episode. We really did. Let's take a look. I want us to shed our old misconceptions of work. Those don't work no more. Let them go. However we used to think of work and labor, let them go, so that the new and improved ways of thinking about labor and work can thrive, have an opportunity to show the world what it means to like work in joy, work in purpose, work in life, work on the things that mean something to you. Instead of looking for ways to work, I want to say that we've grown in being able to say it's time for us to look into ways we can play and have joy in our lives. Doing just that is the ultimate sign of rebellion, because they don't want you to play, they don't want you to have fun, they want you to work, they want you to work hard, they want to work you to the bone, they want to work you until you're dead, and then they're going to bury you and find someone else to do the job all over again. It's a cycle. Get out that cycle. Don't worry about that. The ultimate sign of rebellion is saying, I don't care about your systems, your dollar sign. I don't care about how the world works. I care about me and how I work and how I operate and how my systems are. That's the ultimate source of rebellion, when society tries to have you focus on society. You look at society, you say, I don't care about what you got going on. I got stuff going on for me. And you work within. That about wraps it up for us here at All Growth. It's been a lovely time discussing all work, no play. Working hard is hardly working. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us in this space and time. Please, remember to rate and review. Remember to rate and review, subscribe, follow us on our social medias at All Growth Pod. Follow the Tiny Cupboard at All Growth Pod. Review this, let a friend know. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We can do this every weekend. It's been an absolute pleasure, everyone. I'll see you next time. And until then, in the meantime and in between time, keep growing, keep glowing, keep going.